Welcome to the Sikh Coach Turban tying tutorial. I start off with a base turban covering my hair, which is tied into a knot. I take one corner of the turban, put it in my mouth, and you're moving from the right side of your head and bringing the first layer of the turban across down on your eyebrow and behind your head. It's important to keep it nice and tight and taut throughout the whole tying process. And the next layer goes on the top on your right hand side, and you want to keep it quite high at the level of where your turban needs to look balanced. So both sides will need to be of equal height, so you're building from bottom up on your left hand side and you're building from top down on your right hand side. So as you can see, I put the second layer on, and this is a 5-layer turban, also called a Larh pagg. The second layer is done with a small gap between the original layer, and you continue to build that gap. So as you can see, the next Larh is now spread out a bit more. So you still keep the foundation at the top, but you just spread out some of the material further down as you tie the turban. So this is the third one. I think the key thing to note is when you do the little twist in the middle to get that clean side. So it doesn't have to be a big twist, it can just be tucking in the excess material and creating that layer. It's important to clean the turban as you go along and smooth out the material as much as possible so that your turban looks nice and neat. So the length of this turban is 5.25 meters. I tie a double pagg, which means it's cut in half and sewn together. So it gives you a fuller, thicker turban with a few layers. So as you can see, I'm tying the fourth layer now, and it's building up on the existing layer. It's important to keep the material taut throughout the whole process. You don't want it to be too loose, because then your turban will feel too loose on your head. You don't want to do it too tight either, because then your ears will hurt. The material that I use is called Supreme. Unfortunately, this is only available in India, mainly in Delhi, but the similar material to get is called Voile. I would recommend you experiment with the turban cloths and the turban lengths as well, because it will vary depending on your head size and style of turban. So as you can see, I'm tying the last final Larh, which is the fifth one, so it's very high up on the left hand side, and continue the same process. It's important to keep smoothing out the material, and as you get onto the final one, this is actually where it makes the turban look complete, because it covers the whole right hand side and makes it look neat. So you need to spread this one out, so pull it from the top. You can also pull it from the bottom and put any excess material underneath the Larh as you bring it across, and make sure it looks nice and smooth. We will be doing some more cleaning afterwards, but this is just tying the main turban. And just make sure it comes across. You shouldn't need any pins if you've got this much excess material. You can tuck it in right at the top behind your head, as you can see, and that's stable and sufficient enough to keep the turban intact. So just continue to keep shape the turban. And the last bit is take that first piece out of your mouth, and then holding both sides, just loosen the material at the top. This is going to be used to cover the head, the rest of the head at the top, and tuck in the excess material into the turban that you've tied, the layers that you've tied around the head. As you can see, it tucks in nice and neatly, and you can pull at the end of the material to tighten it, so you get a nice clean finish at the top of your head. And just continue to pull. So you should have a little bit of excess at the back. You can either bring it over the turban and tuck it in, or just tuck it underneath. That's your own preference. And then you have the turban, and this is where you neaten it up. This is called a salai. It's almost like a metal tent peg, and we use it to clean and shape the turban once we've tied it. As you can see, that it's a bit messy and the material needs a bit of cleaning up, so you're able to then manage the lines and get the clarity and the definition on the turban you want. You can tuck in any excess material at the top and really finish the turban and make it look very nice. Tying a turban is like art, so you get better over time. Everybody has their own style, technique, and what suits their face and structure. So all I would say is for everybody to experiment, practice, practice, and practice. Hope you found this very helpful. All the best.